In this video, we're going to talk about the semester proposal that you're going to make for this course in English 1301. So I want to go over some of the details of that, also go through like the scoring guide for it, and take you through an example as well. So you've spent some time going over a big question, an umbrella topic that you would like to research over the course of this semester. And we really want you to choose this carefully because that's the topic that you'll be working with for the entire semester, which means all the papers that we do will fall within the umbrella of that topic or that larger question that you're looking at. And the course really works better for you if you're able to do that rather than try to generate a new topic each time. Particularly when we talk about doing the research end of these projects or these papers, because you're going to be looking for the same topic, just different nuances of it. You'll really get to learn it well. But be sure you pick a topic that you're comfortable working with, you have no problems doing the research on, and that you're not going to grow tired of doing. So the end product of this memo that I'm having you write is actually going to be two products. The first one is a very official looking one-page memo. It's not quite an email and it's not quite a letter, but it's a little more formal document, very similar to what you might make to a professor if you're making a research proposal to them for some semester work. Very close in nature to a proposal you might make to a future boss about some work that you want to do within that organization. But the format is very different than what we've talked about early on about MLA. Everything within it is going to be single-spaced except for the gaps that you put between the paragraphs. And I'll show you an example of what this looks like. But let's take a look at just the organizational format for it. So the memo format proposal really doesn't have a title or a heading. It begins real simply with identifying who you are writing to, the person, what person you're writing to, and what their title is in the organization. Because it's a formal document, you want to recognize someone's position. You of course also identify who you are. You offer the date, month, day, and year, and then your subject. Be very specific. This is like the subject line in an email, and it can be simply like semester research proposal. Just be very specific so the reader is very clear about what you're asking. Okay. Now notice, unlike an email or a letter, there is no salutation or greeting in this memo. There's also not any kind of like closing, sincerely, yours truly, love. None of that's apparent in this. You would do that kind of thing in a letter or an email, but not in a formal memo. So think of your memo as taking place with several bits of information that are going to be put into kind of like a block format. Now, they don't have to be put into boxes. I've arranged the boxes so you can see that when we do the paragraph breaks, we're going to keep everything left justified. So there's no indentation like we do in our normal papers. Everything will be to the left, and then when we are skipping, we'll skip a line to start the next paragraph. So since everything's justified to the left, the space indicates when we have a paragraph break. All right. Now, these paragraphs are not meant to be long. They're very specific, and you'll see from the example there's a pattern or model that you'll be given. So in the opening one, this is where you are making your direct proposal, who you are and what you seek, what you want from the person you're sending the memo to. In this case, you're identifying who you are and you're identifying what it is you want, which is to be approved for researching this topic. Most of you will be approved. If we feel like the topic is too vague, we might ask you to reformulate that or rethink that. But for most of you, it's a pretty easy statement. This can be done in one or two sentences. Then we'll take a look at the second section, and this is where you give kind of a summary, a brief little background about why you're interested in the topic. So if you want to write about sports salaries maybe escalating too heavily, what is your interest in it? Are you interested in sports? Are you the child of a pro athlete? Is this something that you hope to to pursue sometime in the future. So what is your interest? Why are you choosing this particular area of focus? And it could be something that it's something that you've heard about. Maybe it's a conversation you've had with someone you trust. But what is your connection? What is your interest? And again, this can be done in 2 to 3 sentences. It does not have to be overly done. The goal of the memo is to keep it to a page or less if you can. All right. Then what we're moving into in this third section is where you're going to offer an explanation of the specific issue, okay, or direction that you want to focus on underneath your umbrella topic. And when I show you the example of this, I think it will become more clear. Now, that focus as you begin to get into the research may change, because as you look into some of the data and some of the articles and argumentation that's made about it, you may change your mind about, wow, I really want to pursue this angle that's much more interesting. So think about the specific areas that you think you're going to work with, identify them here. Again, not very long, 2 to 3 sentences at best. Lastly is going to be a very direct request. What is it that you want me as a supervisor, me as your instructor, me as your faculty guide, what is it that you want? Okay, and basically you guys are in a single sentence, you're going to be able to state that you're seeking approval or guidance, okay, for the topic. So this includes asking for, like, what areas do you feel weak in? Maybe you feel weak in making a strong search. Maybe you feel weak in organization. Maybe you feel weak in getting a really hook based introduction. Maybe you're weak at transitions. What areas can I, as an instructor, help you and guide you as we move in the topic? And then finally, there's no formal closing signature in a memo, okay? Basically, what you do in your action request will serve as the end, okay? So there doesn't need to be any formal like closing to it, thank you for your time, none of that. It basically ends upon your request. Now, there is a second part of this assignment. So the memo is one, that's the first page. It'll be a clean page, one page is plenty. The second part is we want you to begin gathering sources. Now, at this point in the course, we're not asking you to vet or check the validity of these sources. We simply want you to see what's out there. We're going to give you a couple of tools that you can use to help narrow searches rather than just a broad Google search. But we're going to begin creating something called a working bibliography. And what that means is for this one, by the time we're done with this semester, you may have anywhere from 20 to 30 sources that you've gathered and looked at for the various topics and papers that we write. But for this paper, just since it's a starting point, what we're going to be asking you to do is come up with 10 resources that are related to your overall topic. Now, some of these may not be useful to you in the long run, but these are the things you found. Okay, we're again going to show you some smart search tools and some techniques that you can use to kind of make this happen. Your search should be looking for, who are the big players in my topic? Is there anyone who is considered to be the key figure who knows all, the gatekeeper who knows all the information? Do I have any specific laws that have been written about this? Is there any new news events recently that have come up related to my topic? So all of these make fertile ground for you to research. So what we want you to do, this is not a formal bibliography yet, although it will become one, it's a working one. So we're going to start with simple hyperlinks. So what I want you to do first is when you find a site, scan it, see if it looks pretty usable, and then bookmark the site in Google. You want to be able to get back to this. The second thing I want you to do is once you've found those sites, you could actually bookmark them and create a file folder called Research Folder, and that's where you store them. You're going to create a Google Doc, and then what you're going to do is take the links, the URLs to these sites that you found, and you're going to capture that URL. You're going to write the title of the article and turn that title into a hyperlink, so that for us grading it, we can simply click on your document in the hyperlink and it'll take us to the source that you looked at. Okay. And then what we want you to do, and this is trying not for all 10 sources, we'll give you a limited number. It might be 1 or 2 or 3. We're going to ask you to do a what we call an annotation. And again, we'll show you what this looks like as we look at the example, but an annotation is a brief, maybe 2 to 3 sentence summary statement giving some very specific information about the sources that you found. Now, we're going to try it. This is a beginning point of both research for us and working with bibliographies. So it's not going to look like it's pure form just yet. Okay, so let's take a look at what an example looks like. So this is one I've written. You'll see it's from our fictitious student, Smells a Lot, What's Your Face? So very formal structure, memo 2, who's it from, the date, the subject, okay, project proposal for English 1301. So notice it's very formal, okay. It's not overly long, but it is divided into sections. We are single spaced, okay. We are not indenting, but we're having this block format pulled to the left margins. And follow me with the first paragraph so you get an idea. I propose that I, Smells a Lot, What's Your Face, a student in English 1301, period 6, can be approved to research and write about the umbrella topic of the collateral damage of the exponential technology growth. So this is one of the topics that my kids could choose from. I would also like to research more specifically about the gig economy that has resulted from the technological development. So I already have in mind that I want to look at technology and what like the proliferation of technology is doing to our society, but specifically I'm interested in the gig economy. That seems to be a big topic right now. So my second paragraph, why am I interested in it? My interest in the subject comes from the fact that I am uncertain of my own work future. And as I begin to make plans for the future, especially college and what I might major in, I see that getting to understand what the future holds will be of personal benefit. I hope during the course of the research to get a better idea of what skills I might already have that can be used to make me successful. So I'm basically saying, why do I want to study the gig economy? And I'm very clear it has to do with my future. Okay. Then I get to my third, and I'm looking a little more specifically. Specifically under the topic of the future of work, I would like to investigate what the gig economy is and how this type of economy might work in the future, be the reality for many people, myself included. It fits with answering the larger umbrella questions of what is an education and what is most important to the individual. So those are my two large, big questions, and I feel like this topic fits underneath that. Both of these questions will help guide me to find out if the educational path I hope to take matches with what I want to do in the future. So this is a statement that basically explains what you're looking for and what you hope to kind of gain out of it. And then finally, what do I want from this person, this professor, this instructor, whoever you're addressing it to? It is my hope that you will approve this topic as well as offer me some guidance and possible directions where I might find appropriate sources. So I don't feel confident in finding good sources, so I need help with that. I have no trouble in general research, but I'm not very skilled at how to find specific, vetted, which would be reliable information. In addition, I often struggle in my writing and making transitions between ideas and paragraphs. So I've talked about a research issue that I might have as well as a writing issue. All right. So what we do from there is that's the memo, and then you're going to include your working bibliography. All right. So I'm going to give you an example just to kind of run you through that. So the working bib, what we're going to do with that is make sure this page has our heading. Okay. So now we're back into the regular MLA, everything's double spaced. There's a very specific format for bibliographies, which we will go over in class. But you notice what I've done is I've taken the title of a source I found. If I click it, it will take me directly to it. So this is a hyperlink. And then I've got a little write-up. And we're going to do 10 sources, but I don't want you to do 10 full write-ups, 10 full annotations. That will come later. We're going to try it out so that we as instructors can kind of look at your work and tell you if you're in the right direction or you need to improve it because we don't want you making the same mistake like 10 times. Let's do one or two, possibly three, and then we'll see where you are. So notice this is a typical annotation. I've got my hyperlink, which at some point will become a bibliography. This article in Forbes magazine online examines the effects COVID-19 has had on the work situations and expectations. So I summarize the article in one sentence. Summarize what I would find if I click on this link. Okay. The article uses statistics and personal stories to show that the workplace, so now I'm evaluating it a little bit. And evaluating means, what is the purpose? What good would this article do for me as a researcher, as a writer? So we're going to stick with those two areas. Let's stick with those two for our annotation. Summary and what's the purpose? What good is this? All right. These documents will be available to you on Canvas. And then I want to kind of end by looking a little at the rubric for scoring this. Okay. So you'll notice in the rubric, what we've got is the format, very important, okay? So this includes the spacing, this includes the indentation, the hyperlinking, all of that needs to be done correctly. The actual proposal itself, okay? And the sections that involve that, all right? Each section is clear. Your annotated bibliography, okay? And then the writer's craft and conventions. This is your mechanical grade, right? This would be grammar, usage, mechanics, all right? All of these will summarize. This is a 50-point assignment for you, so it's not super strong, but it will go with your diagnostic writing. Those two blend together to form a major grade for you. All right. If you have questions, please see your instructor, and we'll wish you good luck.